We start with the prayers. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahay Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are studying Taittriya Upanishad, chapter 3. We are almost coming to the end of the Upanishad. We are in the last section, which is 10th section. And there are two verses pending, which we have to do. One is verse number 5, another is verse number 6. The message of all Upanishads is about our own higher nature. In the language of Upanishads, it is called as Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. Brahman is our own nature, our own name. If you take consciousness as the nature of all human beings. Suppose you take the body, then it is not the higher nature, it is the lower nature. Suppose you take the mind, it is the lower nature. Suppose you take the Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha. All that is lower nature. What is higher nature? Higher nature is defined by three words in Vedanta. One is called as Satyam. Satyam means it always is there. Changelessly it is there. Body is not there all the time. In sleep also body goes away. After the death of the body, there is no more body. So we are not referring to the body. We are not referring to the mind. Mind goes away every day, our mind changes. So here we are not talking about Satyam as the body or mind or even the universe. We say even the universe is also not Satyam. Satyam is existence, consciousness, bliss. That is the nature of Satyam. Then Jnanam. Whenever we refer to that Satyam with reference to the Jiva, it is called as Jnanam. It is called as consciousness. When you refer to the Brahman, that Satyam, as with reference to the world, inert world, then it is called as pure existence. So, when it refers to the Jiva, we call it as Jnanam, because our nature is Jnanam. Whether it is Ishvara or Jiva, the nature of a human being is Jnanam. Nature means what? We all go back to our home. That home is called as Jnanam, which is called a consciousness. Then the third element is Anantam. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. These are the three words in which we are describing our own higher nature in Taittriya Upanishad. In chapter 2, the first mantra gives this definition. Ananta means it is always existing, it is not limited by time. It is timeless. It is not limited by space, it is beyond space. It is always there everywhere, all pervading. So, whenever we cross the boundary of time and space, it is called as Anantam. Anantam means limitlessness. So, we must keep this definition of Brahman, which is our own higher nature. Whether you are a male or a female, it doesn't matter. Our nature, Beyond the body and mind, who are we? That is called as Satyam Jnanam Anantam. In short, all three put together is called as Brahman. So once you have understood there is something called as higher nature and it is called as Brahman. Now, how do I experience that? The Upanishad says you always experience that because that is your nature. You know, the body is there in the waking state, in the dream state. It is not there in the sleep state. This body is not there. I don't experience the body. That's what it means. But consciousness, do you experience or not all the time? Yes. That consciousness, which is invariable, does not change in all the three states, whether it is waking, dream, sleep. I'm conscious of the waking state of the mind. I'm conscious of the sleep state of the mind. I'm conscious of the dream state of the mind. Okay, so this is the second lesson. Third lesson. This Brahman, compared to the waking state, it is called as higher state. Paramarthika Satyam. These three lessons are very important. That's why try to remember these three lessons always. Then you will understand the whole Upanishads. You will also understand any Upanishad. You see, the basics are very important. So this Brahman's nature is a super waker status. It is not the waker status, super waker. That means what? When you consider yourself as this pure consciousness, in that consciousness, there is no world. In that consciousness, there is no jiva. In that consciousness, there is no Ishvara. Jiva Jagat Ishvara Rahitaha is this Brahman. It is transcendent. It is higher nature. Can you give me an example of this higher nature and lower nature? If you ask, compare your dream state with the waking state. Everything in the dream state is nothing but the waking mind. Similarly, everything in the waking state is nothing but Brahman, this consciousness, this existence, this blissful entity. Okay, very good. Now, once you have understood these three principles, basic principles, you can analyze any mantra of the Upanishad because you have the basics. Now, if you don't understand the basics, you can't understand the mantras. If you are a little bit doubtful about the basics, you can ask questions at the end of the session. This is where we stopped last week. Here, the analysis is what is the essence of the answer of the Upanishad when the Upanishad says that the jnani enjoys all the pleasures in the world. The Upanishad says that jnani enjoys all the pleasure. But how does the Upanishad answer this question? That is what we are analyzing. Ananda or bliss is of two types. One is called as Swarupa Ananda, another is called as Vishaya Ananda. We are all familiar with the Vishaya Ananda, which is what we experience with our body, mind, and the world. I like a good, I taste a good ice cream, which is of my choice. Very good. I get Ananda. I see a good movie, I get Ananda. I meet a friend, I get Ananda. So all this Ananda, happiness which is born in this world is born and it is gone. It lasts for a few hours, few decades, few years, but it goes away. It is the Vishaya Ananda is also based on Triputi. Triputi means the knower, knowing instrument, and the known object. Body is the medium. Mind is the medium. It is the instrument. The knower is the jiva. Knower is the jiva. Through the mind, it enjoys the world of objects. That is called as Triputi. Knower, knowing instrument, and the knowing process, and the enjoyment from the objects. If you have understood the Vishaya Ananda, now you can try to understand what is Swarupa Ananda. Because Swarupa Ananda is your nature. Your nature is you can't experience it because you're not talking about a medium. So, how do you know about this Ananda? Only through the Upanishad, which says that your Swarupa, your real nature is Ananda Swarupa. Do I experience this at any time? In the sleep state, we all experience this Swarupa Ananda. But it is in a very, very diminished form, like a dull, small bulb lighted up. Our real nature of Swarupam is bliss. Sarvatmatva upapatte. Jnani understands that I am the adhishtanam, the substratum for this entire universe. Therefore, the Upanishad says, whoever enjoys the pleasures in the world ultimately as pure consciousness behind the mind and behind the body, it is the same Atma. मय्येव सकलं जातं मयि सर्वं प्रतिष्ठितं मयि सर्वं लयं याति तत् ब्रह्म अद्वयम् अस्म्यहम्. That Brahman, which is non-dual in nature, in which all the body and minds they resolve, and that Brahman from where all the body and minds again manifest during the waking state or during Shrishti, that Brahman is the ultimate ground of all enjoyments in the world. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadapyaktamurtinah mastani sarvabhutani cha nachaham teshvavastitah. In this beautiful mantra, which Shankaracharya quotes almost 20-30 times in Mandukya Upanishad Bhashya, what does the Bhagavad Gita say? It describes the nature of Brahman. What is the nature of Brahman? Brahman is that in which all the world is pervaded. That means when we are experiencing the world, it is the pervasion of Brahman as consciousness, as existence. It is pervading the whole universe. So, during the Adhyaropa stage, that means when we are experiencing the world during the Jagrata Avastha or the Swapna Avastha, we can say this statement is correct. What is the statement? I, the consciousness, pervade the whole universe. I, the existence, pervades the whole universe because everybody experiences the world as what? Existent, existent. You experience as existent. I experience as existent. You are conscious of the world. I am conscious of the world. So the world does not have its own consciousness. I, Brahman, as Brahman, I lend consciousness to the world. Very, very high level of teaching in Bhagavad Gita. This is the central two verses of the Bhagavad Gita, which explains the nature of the self. There are many mantras in the second chapter, many mantras in the 13th chapter, but Shankaracharya's favorite verse is these two. All those people who are listening to me in the Mandukya on Sundays, they will slowly start getting used to this mantra because in the next 4 5, after about 4 5 sessions, we will be starting these mantras where this mantra will be quoted several times. So now you have understood the fourth verse, the ninth chapter. Immediately in the fifth verse of the Bhagavad Gita, Nachamastani Bhutani Pashyami Yogamaishwaram Bhuta Branna Cha Bhutastaha Mamatma Bhuta Bhavanaha. This is called as Apavada stage, negation stage. You want to understand what is Brahman? First do the superimposition, verse number 4. Then you do the second step, which is called as Apavada, verse number 5. What does it say in the verse number 5? It says that I, with my higher yoga power, support this entire universe, which is Maya Shakti. But I don't dwell in them. I am the efficient cause. I am that switch on and off switch for the entire world. So this fifth verse is the transcendent nature. The fourth verse is immanent nature. Immanent means it is together with the world. This is the first stage of Adhyaropa. Transcendent means what? You rise above, like the waker will rise above the dreamer and say, I am not in the dream at all. I am independent of the dream. Similarly, Brahman, the higher nature, will say, I am not a part of the waking world. I am independently existing. And that is what is the absolute nature for all human beings, for entire Jagat. Knowing this nature of mind is ultimately called as moksha. Therefore, the fourth mantra, fifth mantra, you need to understand first that these are Adhyaropa, Apavada mantras of the Bhagavad Gita, and then contemplate on that. As you contemplate, your own mind will convince you that this is the truth. This is the final message of all the Upanishads. Because ultimately, when you think about these two mantras in your own mind will resolve the whole universe into that Maya Shakti. And then what will happen? You will say, I am Sarva Adhishtanam. Maya Shakti cannot remain independently. It requires an Adhishtanam. That power of Maya has to belong to somebody. That somebody is called as Brahman. With reference to that Brahman, you will say, I am in the binary format. Suppose you have understood this whole message of the Bhagavad Gita. What will you say then? You will say, Aham Brahmasmi, I am that pure Brahman, because the Upanishad has clearly taught that to me. I can say I am free. I always was that. That is Nitya Mukta Swarupaha. I don't need to do anything for that. I just have to know that. That's all. That is why Upanishadic Shastra is only called as knowledge. Jnana Tantram. It is not Karma Tantram. Karma means you have to do action to get a result. But Jnana means what? You know it and you attain it. Like you know that you are a waker and you have awakened by from the dream. Similarly, you know you are the Brahman and you have awakened from this waking state. I need not go after sense pleasures in the world because you will ask them, who is the jiva enjoying these pleasures? Whether it is in this loka or seven lokas where Swarga is there, Indra is there, Indra's Ananda, or all the lokas and the inhabitants which we have seen in the Ananda Mimamsa portion of second chapter, all the Ananda belongs to the same entity, same Vastu called as Brahman. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also called as Kshetrajnaha. 13th chapter, Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarvakshetreshu bharata kshetrakshetrayo jnanam yattajnanam matam mama. All the world exists in Kshetrajna. Kshetrajna is the observer consciousness principle. Consciousness can exist by itself independently. Like the waker can exist independent of the dream, consciousness, Brahman, can exist independent of the waking state. Try to understand this point which I'm making. Therefore, anybody, all the enjoyers who are enjoying with the body mind complex, they're all enjoyments are all with that entity called as Brahman. Jnani has identified with that entity as his nature. Therefore, the Upanishad says, Jnani enjoys all the pleasures of the world. Therefore, he has got Purnatvam. You and I, we don't have Purnatvam because we are limited. We are thinking that we are this body. As a body, we are never Purna. But as consciousness, we are always Purna. Purna means what? Ever fulfilled. I don't need anything in the world. That's why a jnani can remain aloof. Many a times in the Bhagavad Gita, we talk about samatvam. Samatvam yoga uchate. In Bhagavad Gita, the second chapter, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atman yevatmana tushtaha sthita prajnasya jochate. Atmaneva atmana tushtaha. A jnani is getting contentment from his own atma. Atmaneva. That means I drop my nature as the body, I hold on to that pure consciousness, and then I am ever contented, ever fulfilled. That is the message of the Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, the 55th verse. Very famous verse of Bhagavad Gita. See, I'm trying to connect all the mantras so that you can understand the nature of Atma. So the discovery of Purnatvam after the study of Upanishad is a fact which you understand. It is there. Figuratively, we say that the jnani enjoys all the pleasures. It's only a figurative expression. It is not a factual. It's not that he will enter all the bodies and undergo all the enjoyments of all the people. No. You only understand intellectually, cognitively that all the bodies, they exist in Atma. That Atma is the substratum for the entire universe. If I am holding on to that Atma as my own Swarupam, then I can figuratively say, I enjoy all the happiness in the world. Like, for example, suppose your grandmother is at home and she has got 12 grandchildren. When she sees the 12 grandchildren eat food, it is a satisfaction for her to see all the children eat well. So through the children, she is enjoying the contentment which all the children are having. That is called Sarvatma Bhava of the grandmother. Compare the Jnani, like the grandmother. He says all the human beings they're enjoying. But ultimately, where does all this enjoyment exist? Where does it exist? Where does it resolve? It all resolves in Atma. That Atma is me only. So there is a big jump in the understanding of a jnani. Whenever we do the Mahavakyam, we have just finished the Mahavakyam in the fifth mantra. The Mahavakyam says, the essence behind the human being and the essence behind the universe is one Atma. That is what we have completed in the fifth section, a very important section, Sayaschayam Purushe, that verse. So the 10th section, fifth mantra is a Mahavakyam, which we have, and it is, if you understand the Mahavakyam, the essence behind the Mahavakyam is very simple. The essence behind Upanishads is actually very simple. But to get that jnanam, we have to come to the Upanishads. We have to learn the Upanishads correctly. Our mind has to be ready. Suppose the mind is ready and you have a good teacher, jnanam plus the prepared mind, once they are together, it will happen. Automatically, you will get liberated. You will say, I am that pure consciousness. The five koshas are only a dress. This body appearing in the waking state is a dress of that consciousness. Consciousness is my nature, which I'm experiencing at the time in my sleep state, where there is no body, there is no mind, there is no universe. That is my real state. Upanishad is telling me. Where there are no koshas at all. In sleep, where are the koshas? So the moment you cross the Anandamaya kosha, you are already into Brahman. And that Brahman state is what is the analysis of all what we have done in the second chapter and the third chapter of Taittriya. Very beautiful Upanishad, but you must understand it correctly. The next section is the last section, the last verse of the Upanishad itself. But it is a long commentary of Shankaracharya. So we will have maybe 1, 2 sessions, I don't know. We'll take it up as it comes. Now, in this section, what is happening is a jnani, after getting the jnana, how does he look at the world? Many seekers also want to understand this because they want to know what is this enjoyment which this jnani has. How does the Upanishad describe this fulfillment? If you want to know that, this is the mantra which we have to analyze. What does the Upanishad say in this last mantra of the Upanishad? The Upanishad says that he will sing the Sama song. Here, Sama means Brahman. He will sing the song of Brahman. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. 3 times he will mention that. Ahamannam, ahamannam, ahamannam. These are all nothing but me alone. This food is nothing but me alone. The eater of food is me alone. The food itself is me alone. I'm the one which is there in this whole creation. I am born even before the Devatas. I means what here? Consciousness. Because consciousness is the substratum. Without the substratum, nothing in the world can exist. I am the center of immortality. Very important sentence in this Bashyam. Center of immortality, because everybody wants to know, I want to become immortal. Whenever you come to the Upanishadic study, one of the main things you want to learn is how can I be immortal? It is an urge in all of us, right from an ant to all human beings and the devatas. The one wish which is common to everybody in the world, even in the deathbed, is I want to be ever there. Mortality is samsara. Immortality is moksha. And who gets this immortality? The one who understands that he is this pure Brahman. One who knows in this manner attains liberation, thus ends the Upanishad. They occupy the entire universe. Who says this? A jnani says this after getting the knowledge. He is not identified with the body. He is not identified with the mind. He is only reveling in his own nature as pure existence, pure consciousness, as pure existence, which is the substratum of this entire universe. He can say, I am everything in the universe. You and I, when we are identified with the body, you can never say that. But you must understand this is from the higher nature, which I described to you right in the beginning of this talk. The expression he enjoys all desires is because I am the Atma of everything, Sarvatma Bhavaha. Okay, so with that bhava, I am the inner essence behind the whole creation as the existence principle. See, I'm using two words, existence and consciousness. These are English words, Satyam and Jnanam. But these are only words. You should look at the Lakshyartha of the words. Vachartha is the sound. Lakshyartha is the Brahman, which your mind can understand. There is a Lakshyartha, there is an indicated meaning of Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. Indicative meaning is Brahman. Once I understand that indicative meaning, then the Jnani can say, I have discovered the Atma of this entire universe. That is why we have the Mahavakyam. I am the essence behind the sun. I am the essence behind the body. Sayaschayam Purushe. This verse, the verse which I told you, is the verse from the second chapter also, and also from the third chapter. So Taittiriya Upanishad, you must remember two verses which you should, or three verses which you should never forget. The first verse is that Brahma Vida Apnoti Param, the second chapter, first section, first mantra. The second verse is this verse. Sayaschayam Purushe 2:8-12. And then there is another mantra, Yathova Yamani Bhutani. That verse which comes in the third chapter, first section, second mantra. Don't forget this at any time. Make a note of this, write down in your normal small book, and whenever you have time, go through these three mantras. The whole Upanishad will ring in your mind if you remember these three mantras. Whole Upanishads. The entire Panchakoshas are getting absorbed into Brahman. They rise from Brahman. They resolve into Brahman. Having got this knowledge that the Atma in the human being and the Atma in the sun, which is Vyashti and Samashti, there is only one Atma. Essence is only one Atma. There is only one inner content from where the whole world, the human, the body and the sun both rise from that Atma and both resolve into that Atma. It's easy to understand like this. And that is why the Upanishad keeps on saying, try to understand your nature in the sleep state. In the sleep state, the world has resolved, your body has resolved, but you have not resolved. You are still there as Satchit Ananda Swarup. And that, if that Swarupa, that nature is all pervasive, there is no limitation, limitless. Only after gaining this knowledge, one can say, I have dropped my ignorance, Mula Avidya. I have transcended into the higher order. I have given up the lower order of body mind complex. I have now gone into the higher concept of Satyam Jnanam Anantam, being the substratum of this whole universe, being the Atma of this whole universe. In that, there is no perception or objectification of anything in the universe. It is only Ananda Swarupa. It is unborn, Ajati. World is born. Because it is unborn, it is called as Amrutam. It is immortal. What is immortal? My Swarupa, which is Satyam Jnanam Anantam. It is immortal Swarupam. It is Advaitam. It is Abhayam. Abhayam means there is no fear in that because there is no mind. It is Advaitam because there is no Dvaitam. There is no Triputi. Dvaitam will come and there is Triputi. When the body, mind, and the world they are coming together, then you will have Triputi, then you will have Samsara. But in this Brahman, same thing is this said had to be in Turiyam. In Mandukya tomorrow, what we'll be discussing is the same concept. Because there are many people who are listening to this talk who are also listening to Mandukya Upanishad. The same truth, what we are discussing now, you can apply it to Mandukya Upanishad also. Anusancharan. Anusancharan means always keep meditating on this substratum. In all the lokas, it is the same, it is the same Atma, the same Turiyam, the same Brahman. So the essence behind the Purushaha, the individual, and the essence behind the Aditya, the Samashti, is one Atma. If you know that Atma, in second chapter, we analyzed happiness. 10, 11 types of happiness of the jivas who are there in different lokas, higher lokas. In that, one of the mantra was the Prajapati's Ananda is the measure of the bliss of Brahman. Okay, ultimately, the creator's enjoyment, happiness is one unit. What about a jnani's happiness? That creator's happiness is equivalent to the jnani's happiness because both of them, they know the substract. That is how the Ananda Mimamsa ends in the 8th section of second chapter. The inferior Ananda is one unit in the mind of an individual. The superior Ananda is that Ananda with 20 zeros, followed by 20 zeros. But both these Ananda substratum is what? Brahman. There is no negation, there is no gradation when you come to Brahmananda. Brahmananda means it is the substratum, the happiness, the nature of that pure consciousness. Gradation is there in the Mithya Pratibimba Ananda, not in Satya Brahmananda, which is called as Swarupa Ananda. See how deep these sentences and the meanings are all. The notes which you are listening now, you are reading it, they are very, very powerful. They are very deep. But to understand the depth, you should understand the overall background. We reject the reflected ananda which we enjoy in the world. And we hold on to that Brahmananda which has got no gradation at all. It is always ever Nitya Ananda Swarupaha. Compared to that Nitya Ananda Swarupa, which is what I am in my sleep state, I don't call it experiential Ananda. I am call it as nature, natural Ananda. Compared to that, the Panchakosha Ananda is what? Fake Ananda. Fake means what? Why is it called fake? Because it has never lasts. The happiness, you just look back at your life. Which happiness has lasted for you forever? Nothing. Unhappiness is replaced by another sorrow. In life, what happens is we get happiness, again we had sorrow, again another small happiness, again we get sorrow. So it is a constant fluctuation, a pendulum of joy and sorrow. But there is no Nitya Ananda Swarupa. That Nitya Ananda Swarupa is my inner nature, is my higher nature. The moment I know that I am immortal, mortality belongs to the body and the ananda belonging to the mind in the waking state. But I am identified as the pure consciousness. I repeat the word pure consciousness. Pure means what? In which there is no universe, in which there is no body, mind, amanaha, ashariram. It alone is kaivalyam. So, by having done the Panchakosha Pravilapanam means what? Pravilapanam means resolution. How do you do the resolution? I have discussed this steps many times in this Upanishad. Anatmatva Nishchaya. The Panchakoshas are Anatma. Who am I? Atma. Koshastva Nishchaya. Koshastha Nishchaya means they are only covering. They are only a dress. For what? For this Atma, which is ever free. What is the third step or the third way by which I resolve the Panchakoshas? Karyatva Nishchaya. They are all karyam, they are all product, like a pot. But where does the pot rise from? Clay, which is the karana. So where does all the Panchakoshas of the billions of people they arise from? From Brahman, from Atma. So Karanam is Brahman, Karyam is all the Panchakoshas. The next Pravilapanam resolution ground is Mithyatva Nishchaya. Nishchaya means decision, determination. The entire Panchakoshas which are experienced by me is Mithya. It is of a lower order of reality. Upasamkramanam. What do I do? I resolve all this where upasankramya. In second chapter also the word upasankrameti was used. Upasankramana was used in the third chapter. By doing this resolution intellectually, I reach Brahman. I attain Brahman. Attain is only a figurative. I know I am Brahman is the right sentence. I cross over the experiential pleasure and I claim the Brahma Ananda. Okay. It is not reducing Brahma Ananda to an experience like an experience of an object. Like it is not a kosha. Kosha means it will come and go. Any experiential Ananda will come and go, but the Swarupa Ananda will ever remain as Nitya Ananda. Mandukya Upanishad clearly says, don't work for Brahma, only claim it as your Swarupa, as your own nature. It is not Anubhava Ananda, it is Swarupa Ananda. Non-experiential because it is my nature. And this nature of Brahman we have seen with 4 or 5 words, if you remember, Adrishye, Anakriye, Anilene, Aniruddhe, Abhayam, Pratishtam, Vindate. We have seen this words which describe the nature of Brahman. Brahman is fearless. Brahman is of the nature of pure consciousness. These are all the descriptions for my mind to dwell and drop the Panchakoshas. The Swabhavika Ananda is my intrinsic nature. Intrinsic nature means it will never go away from me. Whether you are 5 years old, 10 years old, 90 years old, also, your natural Ananda, Atma Ananda is always blissful. But why do I suffer? Why do I have sorrow in my life? If you ask me, that will come in the end of this section. Why sorrow is experienced? We will see it at the end of the this mantra. So Aguntuka Ananda means coming and going Ananda, incidental Ananda, which is experiential. It arrives, it departs. Morning, I was very happy. Afternoon, something happened and then I lost my temper. Evening again, I went to sleep. I had a good rest. Now I'm happy again. So this is what is called as experiential Ananda. What about Atma Ananda of a Jnani? I am always blissful. Why? Because world is Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. I am Aham Satyam. Aham Satyam Brahma. That is the knowledge. Through knowledge alone, one can have the Brahma Ananda. So the Vedantin is not experienced by, is not enamored by Samadhi Ananda. Samadhi Ananda is also a Kosha Ananda. It is Anatma. Initially, we all say in chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita, do meditation, but all that is not for Nityananda, Brahmananda, but it is a preparation, a preparatory step for purifying my mind to get this jnanam in Taittriya Bashyam. Brahmananda is ajam. Ajam means unborn, not subject to arrival and departure. Body is born, subject to arrival, birth date is there, and then the going rate is there. But when you say aham Swarupa Ananda, that means I am immortal. Amritatvam is not subject to birth or death. It is not an incidental thing. It is not a kosha. It is nature. It is swarupam. It is swabhavikam. Abhayam. Why does a jnani claim abhayam sarupaha? Because he is not attached to the incidental body, mind, and the world. Not attached to the kosha ananda. Jnani is ever secure because that Atma Ananda is unloosable Ananda. It is never losable. You get up in the middle of night, you are that Ananda. You wake up in the morning, you are that Ananda. You are in the sleep state, you are in that Ananda. You are in the dream state, you are that Ananda. Your Ananda status doesn't change. The objects which come and go in that consciousness, they change. यथो वाचो निवर्तन्ते अप्राप्य मनसा सह आनंदम ब्रह्मणो विद्वान् न बिभेति कुतश्चनेति. The one who knows this Brahman in this way, as taught in Taittriya Upanishad, he will be fearless. Fear of death will not be there for him because he knows I am Ajam. He has no fear of losing any Ananda. I bought a car, that car Ananda will remain for some time. After that, the car Ananda is gone. I will be looking for some other Ananda. Here, there is no comparison in Swarupa Ananda. There is no gradation because it is Advaita Swarupa. It is non-dual in nature. There is nothing except that Ananda. It is Purnaha. Now, this is the result of Brahmajnanam. Many people, when they come to Upanishads, they don't understand why we study Upanishads. But having studied the Upanishad with Shankara Bhashyam, you can say, I have a glimpse of that special nature of mind which the Upanishad has revealed to me. You may not be having the nishtha. You may not be able to hold that nishtha, hold that Ananda Swarupa. But I'm sure each one of you have got a peep, a glimpse, just a glance. Oh, that is my nature. Jnani travels through Bhuva, Swaha, Mahar, Jana, Tapa, Brahma Loka. These are all different lokas, higher lokas. Like you go to different countries and you enjoy different things, Jnani will go. But he will say, these are all incidental. I am always with my Ananda, which is very similar to the Sarvatma Bhava of that grandmother example. Sarvabhutastha Atmanam Sarvabhutani Chatmani Ikshate Yoga Yuktatma Sarvatra Samadarshanaha. Sarvatra Samadarshanaha. Samadarshana means what? He sees his own consciousness existence everywhere. Therefore, his mind is in equipoise. It is always balanced. He never becomes elated. He never suffers grief. This is what Lord Krishna wanted to teach Arjuna where? In the battlefield, when there are so many people dying. He says, Samatvam Yoga Yuchate. You keep your mind balanced. Whatever duty your body and mind has to do, let the body and mind do the duty. You be my instrument. Nimitta matram. Nimitta matram means you be my instrument. And then you go fight. Because nimitta matram means what? All of us have to keep doing our duty in life. Whatever is the duty you have to perform. And what do you say? This is not my duty. It is the Lord's wish who is giving this karma phaladata. Who is the karma phaladata? Through that body, whatever it has to go through. But I am not affected by it, joy or sorrow which comes as a result of the karma. Then I have the samatva buddhi. Sarvatra samadarshinaha. This is the meaning. Okay, very beautiful analysis of Shankaracharya in all these commentaries. That is why when we do this Shankaracharya's Bhashyam, we get to go very deep into the Upanishad. See how beautifully we are analyzing the sixth Just a simple mantra that the jnani, he understands the whole world is nothing but his soul. But that how Shankaracharya describes it is a marvel. How does a jnani travel, even figuratively? How does he travel? Does he desire to eat? Does he does he have desires in his body and mind? If he is the Atma of everything in the creation, how does he sing? Or because he knows that he is the Atma of everything in creation, he will he will sing this Samagamam. Etat Samagayan Aste. Samagayan Aste means what? This whole world is wonderful. Three times he says, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. This world is wonderful. How does a jnani travel figuratively? One who gets this knowledge, he gets this extraordinary power. See, many yogis, they get power. Once they have this knowledge, they develop power in them. Now, yogi can materialize annam. Yogi means we are talking about a siddhi. Shankaracharya here, he says there are some yogis who can create food, who can create desires, and who can enjoy the desires. So he says that there are four possibilities. One is a jnani and a yogi, like Shankaracharya. Then there are many people who are jnani without being a yogi. It can be just a jnani. Yogi means a one who has got the siddhi, the power to create things, extraordinary powers. He can bless. He once he blesses somebody to have a child, that person will have a child. Suppose he says, okay, you'll get married next year. The person gets married next year. That is what is called as a siddhi. So that is the second type. One is the first type, jnani and a yogi. That is the highest category, which was Shankaracharya. Jnani without being a yogi. He is only a jnani, not a yogi. No siddhi and all that. Many Swamijis are like this, who just revel in the jnana. There are some yogis without jnanam. That is the third category. That means they only practice yoga and they get the siddhis. Siddhi means they get powers by doing yoga and upasana. The last category is without yoga, without jnanam. That is the general category. Now, the last three categories is called as samsara. And the first category is called as moksha. Okay. Now, Siddham and Jnanam have got no connection. Jnani identified with the yogis and only figuratively. What is important is I am the Atma of everyone. I am the inner content of everyone. It is I, the consciousness, which is Satyam, which is behind all the minds. It is the on off switch of the mind by which we all come into the waking state and we go back to the sleep state. I can claim to experience everything in this universe because of this Sarvatma Bhava. See, again and again, the Sarvatma Bhava comes in. Shankaracharya uses this word to, to explain to us the nature of a jnani. Okay, so this is how the jnani has the knowledge and he lives in this world. Now, this is the revision portion. In case I have not covered anything, I will just explain. Jnani has anubhava and he has jnana. Jnana is aparoksha jnana. Aparoksha jnana means what? Directly he knows that Brahman as what? As his own nature, not as an object, not as some Brahman existing in some Swargaloka or Vaikuntha or some. some other loka. You have to first die from this world and then go there, travel, Shukragati, and all that. No. All lokas are myself with different nama rupas. The Triputi is not separate from me. I am the Adhishtanam of the Triputi. Triputi means what? Knower, knowing instrument, and the known object. That is what is called as Triputi, which is Ahamkara, the ego. See, whenever we wake up in the morning, we get this ego. Aham, I. As soon as you open your eyes, you say Aham, I. Now, I, with the help of body, sense organs, and the mind, these are all instruments. I interact with the world of objects, which is prameyam. So the pramata, I, the ego I, through the instruments which are called as praman, interact with world outside. And what is the end result of the interactions? Either joy or sorrow. This joy or sorrow is the result of punya papa karma phal. Old balance which is there in my account, I'm just getting fulfilled. In spite of the Dvaita Anubhava, whenever we are in Dvaitam, Dvaitam means Triputi. Dvaitam means what? I am the subject, world is the object of interaction. What about Advaitam? In sleep state, it is called as Advaitam. There is no subject object duality, and that is the state of Brahman. So, Dvaitam Anubhava will continue for a jnani also after jnanam. There is no difference in the experience of the world because the world experience is for the exhaustion of punya papa karma of a jnani's body also. But what is the vastu which a jnani knows? He is owning up that vastu which is called as Brahman. That Chaitanyam, which is the substratum of Jiva Jagat Ishvara. Jnani travels directly through Jnanam and through others he can travel indirectly. Therefore, he sings the Sama song. Brahman itself is called as Sama. In this Upanishad, Brahman itself, the Sama, the word Sama, Sama means Samaveda. He sings Samaveda. Samaveda is always sung. The whole Veda is only sung. But here, as it, Sama has got a special meaning. It is Brahman. That's what Shankaracharya says in this commentary here in the next paragraph. So that Jnani has identified with this pure Brahman and he sings here what Shankaracharya interprets this singing. He says it is not literally singing, but it is talking about Brahman and contemplating about Brahman as his own Swarupa. It is the mind which is contemplating and singing this song. He spends, a jnani, a Brahma jnani, spends his whole life declaring this to everybody. And he blesses everyone in the society and says that the phalam of this Brahma jnanam is Atma Prapti. There is nothing to be gained in the world outside. Everything is inside. Fulfillment in life. When will you say you are fulfilled in life? Can you, each one of you, ask a question in your own mind? Just try it out. In your own mind, just ask a question. Am I fulfilled in life? Can I say from tomorrow, I don't want anything in the world? Nobody can say this. But ask a jnani. What will the jnani answer? Suppose the jnani knows I am this Brahma Swarupa. He is the only one who will say, I am fulfilled in life. All the Purusharthas, Purnatvam, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. Moksha includes Dharma, Artha, Kama. That is what Shankaracharya says in Kathopanishad. He says that this knowledge, Brahma Vidya, is the ultimate knowledge, ultimate Purushartha of all the human beings. Therefore, he says, ooh, ha, ooh. This is how the Upanishad sings the Samagama, a musical version of the Sanskrit word aho. Aho iti etasmin arthe. Havu is a is the singing part of this verse. But actually, what does it mean? It means I am that Brahman. I am that Brahman. Aho Brahman. Etasmin arte. Etasmin means in this universe there is only Brahman alone. This expression of wonderment is repeated thrice to say no wonder in the world is comparable to this wonder of Brahma Vidya. It indicates superlative degree of wonder. See, we all talk about the seven wonders of the world. Oh, Taj Mahal is wonderful. Oh, the that Leaning Tower of Pisa is wonderful. So many things. The Eiffel Tower in Paris is wonderful. Man landing on the moon is wonderful. But what is the most wonderful thing in the world? Discovering this Brahman in your own heart is the wonder of the wonder. That is why it is called as uh, it is called as uh, the greatest secret in the world is this Brahma Vidya. So Brahman's nature is samatva. That is what in Lord Krishna again and again tells Arjuna, have samatvam, have samatvam. By that, what he means is have the equipoise of the mind. Let your mind not waver into rajas and tamas. Make it sattvic, and then you will realize Atma. In creation, there is Vishamam. Vishamam means Dvaitam. In Vishamam, in the creation, everything is different. The two eyes are different. The two ears are different. The two fingers are different. They are not the same. Anatma prapancha is Vishamam. There is only one thing which is Samatvam, which is Sama. Samam means what? Always it remains of the same nature, consciousness. Only thing which is Sama. That is what Lord Krishna is saying. Know that consciousness, Atma, and attain Samatva. Attain Samatva. Handle the pairs of opposites in the world, but have Samatva Buddhi. All this will pass away. These are all mithya. By mithyatva nishchaya of all the pairs of opposites experienced in the world, achieve samatvam. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyasya vinashyantam yaha pashyati sapashyati. One who knows the Supreme Lord in his own mind and which is the same in all the human beings. That Lord is the unperishable Aksharam Brahma. Aksharam Brahma, where in the perishable world there is Akshara. In this world which is perishable, the waking state perishes, the dream state perishes, the sleep state perishes. Again, the waking state comes, again, the dream state comes. But in this play of these three states, is imperishable is Turiya Atma, which is not a part of wakerhood, dreamerhood, sleeperhood. It is immanent and transcendent. It is along with the world, it is also above the world, beyond the world. So, from two angles, we should study Samatva of Atma. When you study the world, you should say this whole world is Brahman. Why is it Brahman? Because the easiness of the world is borrowed from that Brahman. Which Brahman? The same Brahman which is there alone in my sleep state. I'm only trying to, it is always there in all the states. But for you to easily understand, without the world, Brahman is there. So existence in the world comes from Brahman. Consciousness in the body. I am conscious of my mind. That mind, which is called emotions. Who is conscious of that? That Atma is Brahman. So when I look outside, existence. When I look inside, it is consciousness. Inside and outside is only because of the body. It's not because of consciousness or existence. Okay. So because of this uniformity, nirvisheshanam, everywhere, the jnani sings this samagayam. Okay. Jiva Paramatma Ekatvam. He seeks the glory of this oneness which exists between the Jiva, Jagat, and Ishvara. In Panchadasi, chapter 1, I have covered this chapter fully. I have taught this chapter on the Wednesday sessions. Most of you must have attended that. The first chapter of Panchadasi. What does it say? There is only one Atma which plays three different roles of Jiva, Jagat, and Ishvara. How does it play? Through the Maya Shakti. What is the Maya Shakti? Trigunatmika Maya. Maya means three gunas. Rajoguna, Tamoguna, Svaguna. How does it express as Rajoguna? Whenever we are saying, I am the Jiva is of Rajoguna. Always he wants to act and act and act in the world. What about Jagat? The world. Jagat is Tamoguna. Always inert, resting always. What about Sattva Guna? Where do you find Sattva Guna in the world? Sattva Guna is the creator Ishvara of the Jagat. So, Trigunatmika, the three gunas are expressing are as the Jiva, Jagat, and Ishvara. But who is the holder of that Maya Shakti? The holder is Turiyatma. The holder is Brahma. That jnani has understood this nature of the world. Then he, uh, he doesn't have to remain in this Brahmatma all the time. He goes out and then he performs Loka Sangraha. Loka Sangraha means for the upliftment of the world, wherever he feels that there's some in the society where he is living, suppose there is a hospital required, he will work towards building the hospital or a school or an ashram to teach Vedanta. But he has the awareness. He has the awareness of this Purnatvam. That Brahma Vidya is his real nature. In time and space, there is always apurna, limitedness. There's no fulfillment in time space. But Jnani has already transcended time and space. He's holding on to that Atma. So Brahma Jnanam alone is the solution. a permanent solution for immortality and moksha. Jnani talks about the glory of this Brahma Vidya. He sings the glory and he's an embodiment of joy. That is why he sings this song of wonderment. Brahman is wonderful, Brahmajnanam is wonderful. That is what he repeats three times. Aho, aho. He repeats it three times. It's a uh, superlative word of wonder. What is the superlative word? Superlative word, which wonderment of wonderment, Brahma Vidya. What is this great wonder with regard to this Brahman? See how Shankaracharya, see how he goes deeper and deeper and deeper. He doesn't stop again and again. His mind is so fertile with the knowledge of Brahma Vidya. He can go into different directions. Now, see what he say. The non-dual Atma. See, again and again, he wants to make our mind taste that Brahmanan. That is why he is writing. You see, he is giving us that more and more description. Again, he tells us it is Advaita Atma. It is got no change. It doesn't undergo any change. It was there before birth. It is there now. It will be there after death also of the body. It never has a change. It never changes. What never changes? Atma never changes. In Atma alone, in consciousness alone, the body has come. In that consciousness alone, all the experiences are happening. I am the connecting factor. See how he is now linking. I am that connecting factor, that Ishvara, which connects the experiencer and the experienced objects. Experiencer is the Jiva, a mortal Jiva. Experience is this mortal world. But who is connecting? Who is the on off switch of this waking state and sleep state? It is I who function as Ishvara, as a karma phala data. Aham shloka kriti. I am the karma phala data. I am the one who gives the fruit of the result of actions to all the jivas who think that they are the body. But suppose you and I come to realize I am not the body, I am not the mind, then we are free. Here he talks about Saguna Ishvara. I am the one who has put together many body mind complexes for the sake of fulfillment of the jivas. Okay. I am the one who has put them together. See, these are all the important explanations of Shankaracharya giving the role of Ishvara. In this world, all of us are acting, but then we get joy and sorrow. But who is the one who is determining this? It is that Ishvara. There is one Brahman which is God, which is not a karta which is not a karta or a bhokta. It is ever free. It is knowing that I become free. But when I look at the world, I have to still explain the world. How is the world existing? The world is existing because of Ishvara's karma phala data's role. Okay. Ishvara is also Chetanam. He is also of the nature of awareness. Atma appears manifold in the universe without undergoing a change. Very important sentence. A very important sentence. Because you see, when you learn Upanishad, one thing you must learn is there is something which is not changing. Whether I'm in the dream state, waking state, sleep state, I am that Atma, changeless Atma. Whether I was 5 years old, 50 years old, 20 years old, whether I'm 90 years old, I am not the body, mind, I am the Atma. That is the central message of Taittiriya. The Panchakoshas are only an instrument. They are not me. Again and again in the last few sections, Shankaracharya drills this point so that we also can understand this immortal nature of Atma. See, there are now Shankaracharya tries to again explain to us what is this creation. How do you interpret this creation? He says that creation can be interpreted in three ways. Three ways depends on the maturity of the student. It is not depending on the creation. Creation is the same. But if you are a mature student, Uttama student, Uttama Adhikari, you will say God appears as the word. Brahman appears as the word. What am I experiencing all the time? Only Brahman. This is for the Uttamadhikari, the person who has got the jnana. Suppose you are a Madhyama Adhikari. For you, the creation is what? Creation is God as the material cause of the world. He is the creator of the world. He becomes the world. The last one is appearance. It is not reality. It is only an appearance. And it disappears. Here, Madhyama student cannot understand appearance, disappearance. He only says, okay, I can understand. God is the material cause. Without that God, there is no world. So God himself has become this world. That is the second level. The third level is the starters level. Like you and me, we'll say there is one God who is in Vaikuntha or in Swarga or in some place. Now he uses the Panchabhutas, he creates the lokas, and we are all the jivas in this world. That is the last category. God creates the world, God becomes the world, God appears as the word. Like what? Milk has become curd. Similarly, God has become the world. That means now, suppose you are an intelligent student, suppose you are in the middle bracket and then you have accepted the theory, you will ask, after creation, does God exist or not? That is the middle category. That is why you come to the last category, that you come to the appearance category. So the middle category and the first two, the God creates the world, God becomes the world, does not satisfy an intellectual student. Bhagavan neither creates the world, Bhagavan neither becomes the world, but Bhagavan appears as the world. Appearance is there. Like what? Like a magic show. Like what? Like the dream. The dream world appears, disappears. Waking world appears, disappears. Class appears, disappears. Manifests, unmanifests. But where is all this happening? In Brahman. Pure Atma, Brahman is the substratum. For the Uttam Adhikari, Bhagavan appears as the world. Therefore, world is Mithya. What is Satyam? The Adhishtanam. Rope snake is Mithya. Rope snake is equivalent to the world of experiences. Rope is the substratum of the rope snake. Rope is the Satyam of the rope snake. Brahman is the Satyam of the entire universe. Okay? The way the waker becomes the dreamer without really changing, What is the dream world? It is the same baker who appears as the dream world. The dream observer, who is that? Same baker only. So the baker is called as Vivarta Upadana Karanam. Of what? Of the dream world. Vivarta means what? Changeless cause of the changeless material cause of the dream world. What is Brahman? Changeless material cause, not of the dream world, but of the waking world. So Bhagavan is Satyam Jnanam Anantam, Swarupa nature, pure nature as existence, as consciousness, and that Brahman, that Bhagavan appears as this universe in which all activities are happening, in which you are there, I am there. That talks are going on, understanding is going on. People are in moksha, people are getting liberated. People are in Bandha Swarup also. All this is happening in one Brahman, one Satchid Ananda Atma. That is what is the entire story behind the whole universe. Universe is an appearance called Mithya or Maya. Mandukya Upanishad explains 4 features of the world. This I will take up next week. I am not so sure how many pages are left, but whatever it is, we will try and see if we can complete this either in the next week or the following week. 1 or 2 sessions, I will complete Taittriya Upanishad, the last mantra, and uh, after that, I said I will continue uh, the Upanishadic study of Kathopanishad. We have finished. First, we did Kaivalya Upanishad. Then we took Mundak Upanishad, Keno Upanishad, Taitriya. So 4 Upanishads we are finished. After this, we are going to do the 5th Upanishad, which is Katho Upanishad. And those who are attending the Sunday sessions, you're also learning the Mandukya Upanishad. So 7 Upanishads, if you have started with me in this journey of Upanishadic study, so we will be covering almost 6, 7 Upanishads. What will be remaining is the very large Upanishads like Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad. These are very, very large Upanishads. Then there is another Upanishad called as Taittriya Upanishad, Ishavasya. That's all. So these are the 4 other Upanishads which we have not covered. Ishavasya, Aitareya, Brihadaranyaka, Chandogya. These are the 4 other Upanishads we have not covered. But let's see. Let us see where we go after this Upanishad. We'll start with Katho. There is also one more Upanishad called Prashno Upanishad. I have written some Bhashyam of Prashno Upanishad. The first volume I have loaded in the website. Prashno Upanishad discusses the 3 avasthas. For those who are doing Mandukya, it will be useful for you to study. If you're interested, you can write to me. I will send you the first volume. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachade Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. For those who are attending this Taittiriya Upanishad, my request is if you have any questions, you can send it by WhatsApp to me or to the Vedanta students. And in the last session of the Upanishad, I will take up any question you may have on Vedanta. So it can be any question. either related to Taittiriya Upanishad or any general questions of Vedanta. If you want to ask, you can write to me because it's difficult to go through it. If you write to me, then I will take it up at the end of Taittiriya Upanishad. Uh, and then before going into Katha Upanishad, I want to clarify if you have any doubts on Tattva, on Atma Bodha. Suppose you are studying some other text and you have some questions related to that, you can ask. I know there are many people here who are not only studying the Taittiriya Upanishad with me, they're also studying other texts. So if you have any questions, general questions, but you please write to me either in the WhatsApp group or in the email vedantastudents.com. You can write and present your questions. Then I will take up those questions in the last session before starting the Kathopanishad because I want to clear your doubts uh, as we go forward. Okay. All right. Here there is one question from Manikandan. How we can increase the hold of Sarupa Ananda and remain in that? Oh, beautiful question. Uh, See, Sarupa Ananda uh, is can be held only by knowledge. I am Atma, I am Atma, I am Atma. Remind yourself again and again. The world will pull you to act as a father, as a mother, as a sister, as a husband, as a wife, as a boss, as a employee. The world will keep on pushing you. I have found that a 5 minute meditation, Vedantic meditation, in the morning, if you are able to do 5 minutes, sit quietly, chant Om for 5 minutes, sit quietly, contemplate on any topic of Vedanta. Suppose you're learning, you're reading something. Try to bring that thought in your contemplation. Only that thought, nothing else should come. Your the beauty of this 5 minute contemplation, 5 minute meditation daily at a specific time, every day at the same time, 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning. Whenever you have the free time, you should say at this time I will go. After my bath, I will sit down, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, sit down, and then spend some time and deliberately say, I am this Atma. I am the Atma, which is Ananda Surupa. This will definitely help to increase your Surupa. Initially, it will be a deliberate meditation which you will do. But if you continue this meditation for 1 month, what will happen? The mind itself will tell you again and again, I am Atma Ananda Swarup. What is the world telling you? You are the body, you are the father, you are the mother. But we have to superimpose the Atma on top of that status of what the world is giving to me. The moment you are able to superimpose the Atma status, your Swarupananda will grow multifold. This can be done even by just chanting Om. Initially, it may be difficult. You may find how to chant Om. You can chant Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Narayana, anything. So, if you can just maintain this continuous thought without other dissimilar thoughts, then what happens? This becomes a groove in your mind. See, our vasanas of the world have to be conquered by the higher vasanas. Okay. So, Manikandan, have you understood? Any questions on this? Shanmugam is unmuting you. So now you can unmute yourself and you can speak up.
Uh, thank you, Sagaji. Thank you very much for the explanation.
Okay.
Really,
Thank you, Manikanda.
I think I
Okay.
have one
Yeah, go
continuation
ahead,
to
Manikanda.
this. When we say that, okay, everything is controlled by the Ishvara, and we are just acting as the body and mind, and our real nature is Atma. When we function in the world, when we do something, sometimes I'm getting the trap of, it is I'm not doing it is done by the body and mind, which is controlled by the Ishvara. So how we can avoid this trap, like giving excuse that it is not done by me, it is as per the
Okay. Good
wish.
question. Yeah, I understood your question. See, whenever you are acting in the world, what you should say is, I will do my best. To the best of my ability, I will perform. In whatever situation you're given, suppose you are in an office, you do the best job, whatever you can do, without any hindrances, obstacles, you do the best. Stay focused in your job. Suppose you have to take up a task for your family at home, do it with full attention. At that time, don't bring the thought of Atma, nothing. Suppose after the task is over, there is some problem with some reaction of others, and you get offended, or you become, you have sorrow, you have some disturbance in your mind. At that time, bring this knowledge. I am the Atma. World is mithya. The moment you say world is mithya, you will be on top of the situation 100%. The situation outside you cannot control. You can only say, I do my best. Whether you're doing a PhD, I will do my best. I will try to work for the PhD. Suppose you're a scientist, you do your discovery, you do your best. If it comes, the result comes, yes, good, bad. Accept all results as a prasadam, Ishvara prasada. That is the karma yoga attitude. Do your best, do your duty, and don't shrink your duty. Never, never neglect the duty, never shrink your duty, perform your duty to the best. When you get the result of action, at that time, you say, this is Ishvara Prasada. Take the whole action, reaction in the world as Karma Yoga, nothing else but pure Karma Yoga. You do your best, read the actions, and whenever you are getting the result and you seem to be affected, at that time, this knowledge will come to you. And this knowledge will be the shock absorber.
Thank you, sir.
Are you clear?
Yes, Sagaji. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Nandu Desai, he's saying, Yatho vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha is came in the fourth as well as it is repeated. Yes, it came in the second chapter, it came in the third chapter. Is there any specific relation with these anuvakas? Okay. See, in both this, the relationship is what? The Upanishad in the second chapter, the Upanishad in the third chapter wants to reveal to you the nature of both. In both the chapters, the goal is the same. Yato vacho nivartante is repeated because it is an important statement of the Upanishad. Like Neti Neti comes 4 times in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Tattvamasi, Tattvamasi, Tattvamasi comes 9 times in Chandogya Upanishad. What is the meaning, essence behind this Yato Vacho Nivartante? The essence behind this is, don't try to objectify Brahman. The normal tendency of a mind, human mind. Whenever you want to understand something, you try to objectify it internally. Suppose even when you're studying science, when you're studying mathematics, you objectify it internally to understand and get a solution. In the case of Brahman, you cannot objectify it. The moment you objectify it, you have lost it. You have not attained it. You have lost it. In order to make your mind remember this point, the Upanishad says, Yato vacho nivartante. That means the speech cannot go there. Words cannot describe Brahman. Mind cannot think of Brahman. Very bold statement. See, throughout the Upanishad, we say do upasana and do think that aham brahmasmi. But when you say aham brahmasmi, it is not an upasana. It is a conviction. I am that Brahman. So Upanishad wants you to claim Brahman, not to objectify Brahman, because Brahman is the subject. So we should not have a relationship of subject object with reference to Brahman. It should be the subject alone. Aham Brahma Asmi. That should be Aham Brahma Asmi. What Manikandan asked. He should not say there is an Atma and I will attain it after learning Kathopanishad. No. That Atma is there now. Atma will be there after finishing. Atma was there before Taittiriya Upanishad also. Only I have tried to understand that Atma. Now I have understood it as me, myself. This is the only way of final last lesson in any Upanishad. Claim that as your nature. So, Nandu, have you understood this?
Yeah, I think it is in like a second chapter only. Second, like Brahmananda Valli only. This is came in like fourth Anuvak and the ninth Anuvak.
Correct.
Yeah, and the I think it's like my understanding is like beyond the like mind or intellect, whatever we say, like it's beyond the like buddhi tattva. Even I think the Yatu Vacha means beyond the paravani, what we say is like four vanis. But this is like not maybe subject of all these things, but beyond all of these things.
Correct. You're
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Good. Anybody else has any other question? Yeah, Shanta is asking. Shanta, go ahead.
Yeah, I had a question, Shekharji. Namaste, first of all. It's about, I know you mentioned that I should ask all these questions at the end of you're going to answer all of them at the end. But um, it was about this Bhagavad Gita 13th chapter, 28th verse. Um, it sounds when you translate it, it sounds very simple. But that samam sarveshu bhuteshu
Yeah, yeah.
paritishtaha parmeshwarah. Now, but I find the essence of it, I'm not, I mean, until unless you actually, it's sort of, as we say in English, it's got under your skin. Um, I don't, I feel it's all bookish knowledge I'm actually gaining at the moment because I'm not able to get that full concept of
Okay.
that phrase.
All of us,
So,
we are in this boat as what you are saying. See, whenever we are doing it first time, you feel that there is something which I'm missing. I'm not able to understand the full grasp of this message.
mm,
That's what your problem is, right?
yeah, I'm actually finding, I mean, the first line, it seems very simple, samam sarveshu bhuteshu paritishtam parameshwara. We can say that, but to actually, uh, understand it and actually be that, you have to reach that sthit pragya, I believe. So that makes it very difficult to actually understand it at this
I
level of
I
mind.
agree. I understand your difficulty 100%. It is the problem for all the seekers. You see, many verses, like the
Mm.
chapter 9, fourth verse and the fifth verse also.
Yeah,
Uh, Nachamantani, Bhutani,
Bhutani.
Pashyami. So all these verses
Mm.
for a seeker, initially when the guru is explaining, it sounds like, when am I going to experience all this? You are only
Yes.
telling me, but is there any time when I will experience that equanimity, samatvam, all that?
Yeah.
The only answer which acharyas give is continue your study. A day will come, you will accept the same verse after 6 months, 8 months, 9 months,
Mhm.
2 years, we don't know when. The
Mhm.
moment your obstacles in your mind for this knowledge goes away, we don't know what are those obstacles because those are all invisible obstacles. For all
Mm.
of us, today, we are not able to get the full grasp of the teaching. Suppose tomorrow in Mandukya Upanishad they say that Turiyam is your
Mm.
nature. But then I'm not still able to understand. I'm still thinking I'm the body, I'm working, I'm seeing where is Turiyam. All
Mm.
the questions may be there in your mind.
Mm.
But the Guru says, continue your study, let the purification of your mind happen by repeated listening of the scriptures.
Mm.
The moment you keep on listening to the same pure Atma again and again, inside your mind, purification is taking place. Your obstacles, which are there in the form of thoughts, vrittis,
Mm.
those obstacles will slowly diminish. As you study more and more, your difficulty of experiencing that anubhava ananda will,
Mm.
as which is today missing, which you are saying, it
Yeah.
will happen, but we don't know when.
Mm.
Your
Yeah.
problem is very, very genuine. It's valid because
Mm.
we have certain pratibandhas in our mind.
Mm.
Invisible obstacles. I don't know whether it is due to old karmas, nobody
Mm.
knows.
Mm.
Suppose after the end of the Taittriya Upanishad, you say, oh, I went through the whole Upanishad, Panchakoshas, but I'm not able to drop the Panchakoshas. But then how you are saying it is mithya. So how do I understand it as mithya and aham satyam?
Mm.
Now, these are questions, it will bother you till the clarity of Atma, which is separated from Anatma.
Mm.
See, today the Atma and Anatma are together. Now, when it is together as a mixture, it is very difficult to accept that I am Ananda Swarupa. I am Satyam. The word is Mithya because it is together.
Mm.
But there are certain things which will help you when you study the Bhashyam. It may not have helped you. Maybe you've got, say, perhaps you have got 10% clarity today. But as you study again another 10%, 10%, 10%, and as you study more, your clarity becomes better, and that is the only answer which acharyas generally give.
Mm. Yeah, because it sometimes, yes, I mean, I mean, with time and learning, I've only managed to accept that, okay, this body is, is not me. That is sort of I'm able to accept. And I can sort of with Mandukya Upanishad, particularly after learning a bit of it, is feeling that, yeah, this is all appearance. But to claim that, or to even then when I go back to my Bhagavad Gita, and as I uh, keep going back to, I find there are so many verses which I need clarity. I mean, I've not fully understood them, shall I say that way?
It's
And that
okay.
is
It
what
doesn't
is,
matter.
yeah.
Yeah, keep the study going on, and
Mm,
this problem of this bottleneck of the of having the anubhava, having
mm,
the conviction that I am Atma. It is not there. Even I've heard, I've discussed with people who have had 30 years of Vedantic study, 25 years of Vedantic study. They exactly what you're saying. They also say the same thing. That I have studied Upanishads, I have studied Bhagavad Gita, I have studied the Brahma Sutra also, but the message which it is conveying, I'm not able to realize it.
mm,
You see, intellectually, you are able to understand that there is something called as Atma, that is Brahman.
mhm,
But
mhm.
converting that and saying Aham Atma, I am
Yeah,
that Brahman.
that is the point, because I
Yeah,
can understand, yes, in the sleep state, who am I, how do
yeah,
I know I
correct.
slept well?
So
All that makes me feel I
this,
know.
this,
But
this clarity
yeah.
is something internally. What you have to do
Mm,
is you have to separate the consciousness from the body. And
mm,
how do I do it? How do I separate the mind and the consciousness? Okay, there is one tip which Shankaracharya gives in, I think it is in Prashno Upanishad Bhashyam, where he says that, I mean, this is a tip. Okay, now you try to see whether you can understand and you can apply it. In sleep state, you are pure consciousness. There is no word. In the waking or dream, there is Dvaita. In
mm.
the sleep state, Advaita. This sentence you accept. In the sleep state,
Yes,
you are
yes,
Advaita
yeah.
Surupa, you accept. Advaita is what? I am there, and
Mm,
the whole world is
full world.
resolved in me, the Atma. This everybody will accept because that is our experience.
Mm,
Okay. In Prashno Upanishad, Shankaracharya says the trick, what happens because of Maya Shakti. What is Maya Shakti? He says in Prashnopanishad Bhashyam, Maya Shakti is the Shakti which is Advaitam nature, converts it into Dvaitam through
oh.
the mind. Whenever the mind wakes up, either in dream or in waking, Maya Shakti converts Advaita Sarupa of Atma into Dvaita Sarupa of the world. It is the mind which, that Maya Shakti, when it operates through the mind, that mind divides itself into the subject and object automatically. Automatically. It is like the on switch. The moment you on the switch, you see the whole whatever is there in your room. Similarly, the same thing is happening for mind. The moment we wake up or we are in a dream state, we get into Dvaita. Automatically, this is the nature of the world. That means the mind wakes up and it splits the world into I and the world. I am the observer and the world is observed. But actually, what is it? Everything is the observer only. Observer is the consciousness which is Advaita Surupa. But that gets divided because of Maya Shakti.
Mhm.
So you are finding it difficult to cross over that Maya Shakti because you don't know this knowledge that
Oh.
it is the mind which is getting split automatically. It is Maya Shakti. I mean, so
Yeah.
it is a fact which you have to accept is happening in your mind. mind, everybody's mind. But cross over this Maya, and then Brahman alone exists.
Yeah, I think
Contemplate on what
yes,
I've told you,
yeah,
and then you experiment it in your own life. After 3 months, you come back to me and you tell me your experience.
yeah. I think we just there is a shloka. I think I don't know whether it's in the 7th or the 9th chapter where it talks about those who can do it are crossing that Maya,
Yeah,
Shakti.
Mama Maya Duratyaya.
Yeah, that I forgot that sloka,
The
but
one
yes,
who crosses over my
crosses.
Maya is
Yes,
the yogi. He is the ultimate seeker who realizes.
yeah.
I think it comes in the 9th chapter.
9th chapter, is it? Okay. Yeah, because
Mama
I
Maya
remember.
Duratyaya. That is the
Yeah,
verse.
yeah. Yes, yes. Okay, thank you.
So
Thank you very
crossing
much.
over this Maya, you will realize. But this Maya is extremely powerful. It is the Mohini. It is the delusive power in our mind. It will show you something which is very attractive in the world.
Mm.
You see a beautiful car standing in front of you, you'll forget about Atma and Brahman and say, come on, let me go and buy that car. That is Maya. Okay.
Dhanyavad. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Okay. If there are no other questions, we will see next week. So, like I said, as and when we complete the Taittiriya Upanishad, 1 or 2 sessions. In 1 or 2 sessions, I'll complete it. Then we'll start the study of Kathopanishad. Thank you. Namaste. Good night.
And thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
Namaste.
Shikhaji. Namaste.
Hare Om.
Hari Om. हाँ बाबू भाई कैसा है